On March 16, 1999, the National Geographic Society's explorer-in-residence, Johann Reinhard, and his team could finally rest for a spell. They'd spent 3 days in heavy snowfall and ferocious winds atop the more than 20,000-foot-high summit of South America's Mount Luluyacono, searching for this very site. But they couldn't have been prepared for what they eventually uncovered. For 5 feet beneath the rocks lay what Reinhardt would later call the best preserved Incan mummies ever found. There were, in fact, 3 mummies found at this Andes mountain range location. One of them was thought to have been a teenage girl at the time of her death, and hers was the oldest of the 3 uncovered bodies. Nicknamed the Maiden or the Ice Maiden, the girl was found with a body so well preserved that even her hair was viable for testing. She was wearing clothes, a feather headdress had been tucked into her intricately woven hair, and small tokens surrounded her. The 2 children found with the maiden were a boy nicknamed the Luluyacono Boy and a girl dubbed Lightning Girl. The boy was determined to have been 5 years of age and the girl 4, and it's possible that they were the maiden's servants. The reason why it's supposed that the younger children were the maiden's help is that hair analysis revealed the teen Incan girl to have a distinctly different diet than her tomb mates. The investigation into the diets the mummies had had when they were alive was published in 2013, though it was actually completed in 2007, and led by Andrew Wilson of the UK's University of Bradford. Wilson and his researchers found that the younger children's diet in the years before their deaths was equivalent to that of a peasant. The team supposed that they would have eaten mostly vegetables, especially potatoes. However, such was the accuracy of the researchers' testing that they were able to construe that the eating habits of the younger boy and girl changed roughly 12 months ahead of their deaths. They began eating far more luxurious foods such as maize and llama. The more lavish foodstuffs suggested that the children had at the time become exposed to the Incan elite diet, whereas the maiden herself had been consuming this kind of food for some time longer. Further, the hair samples allowed archaeologists to deduce that the maiden had, compared to her younger companions, ingested much higher quantities of cocoa leaves and alcohol. These findings, suggested with various other information, implied to the researchers that the maiden was the most significant figure in the tomb. Furthermore, it's thought that since the maiden consumed the intoxicating substances for twice as long as the others, she would have been numb to her impending sacrificial death. And it most certainly was a sacrifice. One theory has it that the 3 mummies had been sacrificed in a rite known as capacocha. It was rare for Incans to perform this kind of ceremony, and as a result, it would have been deemed a profound privilege for the maiden. The Incans' hope with capacocha was that the sacrifice of pure, beautiful children would mean those children existing in utopia with the gods, and the sacrificed becoming a liaison between the deities and the community's holy men. Another line of thinking, though, proposed that the maiden's sacrifice could have been more politically driven. It was Andrew Wilson who suggested that the maiden had moved in with priestesses in the Incans' principal city of Cusco until it was time to travel to the top of Luluyacono. Half a year prior to the sacrifice, Wilson said, the maiden's cocoa ingestion was at its highest level, which implies that there was at this point a ritual around the imminent sacrifice. This demonstration would have been a way for the Incans to boast about the sacrifice across their domain. Theories aside, the maiden is not believed to have died a very painful death. The same cannot, however, be said for the Luluyacono boy. Certainly blood was found on his head, and his body was bound, signifying that he could have suffocated. The Lightning Girl, who received the moniker due to the fact that it looked as if she'd been struck by lightning, probably froze to death without suffocation, which is similar to the fate that befell the maiden. The maiden, though, may have been calmer thanks to the increased consumption of cocoa and drink. In any case, the discovery of such perfectly preserved mummies was a revelation for the researchers, who were afforded the rare and extraordinary opportunity to peek half a millennium into the past. In 2013, Andrew Wilson spoke to Live Science, saying, "The exciting thing about these individuals is that they probably still have much more to tell us." Moreover, he said, Locked in their tissues are many stories still to unfold. We, for one, cannot wait to hear them.